Oh. This is the way. It's even written on your hat. It's funny when you start to understand that the universe is talking to you through everything. And I remember that scene in the movie Yes Man with Jim Carrey, and the billboard was talking to him. He was asking a question about God, and the answer came up on this workers billboard, you know, like a hazard site billboard. When you drive down the highway near here, there's all these massive billboards, and some of them have things written like, your dream home here. The dream job, the dream life, the dream partner. It's all false. It's all not true. It's all an illusion. And that is the way to realize that it's all not true. You will always be where you are meant to be, doing exactly what you are meant to be doing, in accordance with the storyline that you gave yourself before you came here in the journey of the soul. The world is the second part of the idea of separation, not the first. It's the reparative part. It's where minds come to experience what separation is and learn to make better choices. Some people like to look at it as the idea of it's God examining itself, seeing what the heck's going on. And so be it. I mean, we are God appearing as manifest agencies of dense light, looking out from behind these eyes of the avatar as God mind awake. Otherwise, we're God mind asleep, if you don't believe that or don't have that as your truth. But when one mind is awake, all mind is awake. I mean, you know, it's like the idea that there is minds awake and minds asleep. Well, it's both true and it's not true. You're going to go through the encounters of healing with all your relationships, which in the moment that you find conflict within yourself or any loss of peace, it's an indicator that mind is asleep. You can have all the awakening experiences you like. It doesn't matter how many experiences of light communication you have, like you would have noticed I was enjoying at the very start of this video. There is still the work to do, right? You don't want to bypass the work. And you'll find that work shows up for you in your relationships. You can't avoid it. You can call it karma, whatever. You can try to run from it, suppress it, numb yourself to it, whatever. But eventually you're just going to be like, all right, I need to fucking change my life, change my mind to change my life. And so we accept God's giveness on behalf of our world and on our own behalf, which is inclusive of ourselves, in every moment where we find ourselves not at peace. Right? And that's a process of prayer, of allowing whatever it is that seems to be not at peace to be present as the idea of it and the emotionality of it, and giving that to the Holy Spirit. Take this from me. Heal my mind that believes it's separate from God in this relationship, in this situation. Finger on the nose. Take total responsibility. You can't be half responsible. You know, people say, oh, it's partly my fault and partly their fault. No, no, no. Take total responsibility, but without the idea of guilt, right? You're never guilty. You didn't know this was a dream, and you didn't know that you were cast out of heaven, let's say, or fell from eternity. It's like you're completely innocent. Even in the story of Adam and Eve, when Eve was tempted into eating the apple and then giving Adam, it's like she was completely innocent in that. She had no idea of good and evil, right or wrong, better or worse. But the story is an analogy for the fall from grace. It's an analogy for the story of separation, which is, hello, where we seem to find ourselves watching this video, making this video as seemingly separate beings from each other. But actually it's just one mind waking up, and seen rightly, any mind watching this video as in the mind making this video, it's an energetic presentation, an energetic giving and receiving of a certainty of mind, and let's call it my mind for a second, a certainty of mind that has had a profound awakening experience and came back to talk about it. I don't know if that makes sense, but the funny thing, it's like I remember, I have distinct memory of the world disappearing, everyone and everything, including my body, just in the twinkling of an eye, gone, and being back in eternity, and everyone and everything was there as that. And then being back here again however long, like half an hour later, I think I was out. I think I went into the room at about 8:30 in the morning, and ended up when I stood up again, I was at the other end of the room, and about half an hour had gone by. So go figure. But in that experience, out of time, out of form, in eternity, let's say, it seemed just an instant. It wasn't. You couldn't really time it. If I had to put a time on it, it was like 3 or 4 seconds. But I think Adidar said, it wasn't Adidar, maybe it was Adidar, or might have been Osho, one of those guys, one of them guys said that, they found themselves in the divine effulgence for about 6 seconds, and it's like, I don't really know how you could time it, but I mean, I guess you just sort of make a guess, but that 6 seconds isn't in time. And that's the hard thing to just, you can't talk about it. It's not like 1, 2, 3. It's presence. You can't talk about it. I still try. Forgive me for that. I don't want to put false ideas into your head. Just whatever I say, just tell me to shut up. But anyway, so forgiveness is applied where it seems to be needed, right? There's no point running around, skipping the work, spiritual bypassing, as they say. The work has to be done regardless of whether you've experienced that this is just an illusion or not. And I have a lot of people, right? This is how cool this is. I have a lot of people in the comments on my videos, and I'll read all the comments. Each video I put up, I'll generally scroll through the comments for unread ones and whatever for about 3 or 4 days, and then until I make the next video anyway. And sometimes I'll go back if I notice that one video is doing particularly better. I'm not a big follower of my own results, I guess. I don't know what you call it, but I know that there's a lot of people that genuinely ask for help and genuinely like to make comments on the videos, because they're making sense of things that have happened to them. And so many people on the videos say, I've been out of my body, and I've had an NDE, and I've had all this sort of stuff, and whatever. I mean, I can't qualify that for you. You have to qualify it for yourself. I can tell you it's good. Whatever experience you have that's not this, it's good. It's something that's helping to expand the consciousness, expand the mind. But without some framework for relevance in this life, that experience can tend to fry your circuits. And for a long time, I've met a lot of people that have had really profound out-of-body experiences, don't know what to do with it, can't cope afterwards because the reality they found themselves in was so much better than this, and they didn't want to be back here, like me. I chose to come back, though. I do remember that. I chose to come back to represent the universal curriculum, and I hope I'm doing an okay job at that. Some people leave messages going, "This guy's an absolute joke." I had one the other day. I just delete those. I mean, some people are just not ready to hear what's being said, and if you're not, that's fine, and if you are, that's beautiful. But it doesn't upset me that people don't get it and don't understand and are actually actively aggressive or assertive or rude or whatever. Those things don't worry me. You know, you expect that. It's like, I think in the Bible, Jesus says, you know, don't expect any better treatment than that I got. And it's like, well, at least crucifixion's outlawed in this country. I think in those days, though, you could get crucified. I mean, there was a robber or something on one, somebody that robbed somebody. It was like I was watching the movie Shogun the other night on Disney, which, I mean, the book came out 20 years ago, 30 years ago, whatever, but watching the movie, and the only punishment for any crime was death. It's like, it's all or nothing, you know, and that's how salvation is really, it's all or nothing. But you have to apply the principle of all or nothing through forgiveness. I'm either going to forgive this totally as my total responsibility for it or not at all, because you can't partly forgive error. You can't have one part of error true and one part of error false. You know, it's either all true or all false. The central lesson that the Course attempts to teach, A Course in Miracles attempts to teach, which is the most up-to-date spiritual teaching on the planet. You don't have to take my word for it. You can argue with me about it if you want. I'm not going to argue back, but it is for me. It was given to me by God through Jesus. The journey to it was fucking incredible. And you can read about that in my experiences playlist. There's all my main experiences are in there, but you've got to take total responsibility for your world. You know, I'm totally responsible for the world I made. And even though the mind is going to tell you, you can't be responsible for the suffering of those little children, or you can't be responsible for that earthquake or whatever. And it's like, well, yes, I am. Not Dave, not this avatar thing, this false identity, the mistaken, confused, often confused with identity of things. But I am as in God mind, because this is a dream in the mind of God. God mind is dreaming, let's say, and I'm a dream within the dream, or a figure in my own dream within the dream. So it's a dream within a dream, and it's a dream of chaos initially. But within that dream, and the chaos obviously representing separation from unconditional love, which is the opposite of unconditional love, and within that dream there is the offering through salvation of a forgiven dream. You're still in the world, you're still in the dream, still in the matrix, but at least now you know that it's a matrix, and you can start to respond to things and make decisions about things based on the idea that you now know it's a matrix, to effect changes in the way your cause and effect relationships progress. Heal your mind, and you'll heal your world. So the idea of total responsibility to the fact of the matter that there is no world necessitates that you don't bypass, that you don't skip everything and just sort of roll along with the concepts. You know, there is no world is the fact of the matter, but you find yourself here anyway in a world that seems to be very real. So you apply forgiveness, you apply atonement, the acceptance of atonement to your own thoughts, to your own thought system, in the situations that show up for you that represent the need for healing, and any even the slightest sigh of discontent. Healing is required. So You treat things as they seem to be, right? There's nothing more painful than running around being a spiritual prima donna. Yeah, I remember when I moved to Byron Bay, I was told to go there. I was just a country lad, blue collar worker, and the voice from the sky told me go to Byron Bay. When I got to Byron Bay, the place was full of hippies and people that were just pretending at being, and you could say, well, that's an accurate reflection of my mind at the time, but holy crap, what a lot of bullshit. I look at it now and I'm like, thank God I didn't get caught up in that spiritual soup, And it's like the only way you don't get caught up in it is to stay ardent and stay focused on the actual work, the application of the principle. Otherwise, the ego creeps in and turns everything into an identity. I'm a yoga instructor. I'm a psychic. I'm a clairvoyant. I'm a whatever. It doesn't matter. I'm a Reiki master. You're not any of those things. Those things are just titles and names within a dream. You are the Christ, asleep, dreaming that you are something in the world that is somehow on some sort of spiritual journey, awakening to something that you apparently already are. Well, you're already awake. I'm only here to tell you that. You already are that. And once you begin to operate from that, through forgiving yourself for operating through not that, then what that is becomes more and more apparent, because it is your natural way of communicating with life, the universe, and everything. And once you start to learn how to communicate like that, everything will become perfectly crystal clear. And you won't worry about whatever seems to be going on in the world, whether you're at the racetrack cheering on a winning horse, or whether you're on the side of an avalanche getting thrown down onto the rocks. It won't make any difference to you, because you're not this all of a sudden. This is just the idea of itself. I love Bill Hicks. The world is just a dream, and we are the imagination of ourselves. Even science now, if you're a fan of quantum physics, science, something I read just recently, not long ago. Oh my God. The universe is consciousness. Whereas before we thought that we have consciousness as we, the avatars, we, these seemingly temporal beings. Now all of a sudden the universe is consciousness, because cause and effect aren't separate. If you observe it, it changes. When you don't observe it, nothing's going on at all. If you're a fan of online gaming or console gaming, PlayStation and all of that, in the early days of PlayStation, and I do believe that some games still have this happening that have really big open world sort of formats, but you could see the distance projecting up as you move through it. It wasn't there, like comprehensively, and you go through something you can see in the distance. It would just appear as you moved. It's like it just had to be made up. And that's how the world is. You're looking for it and then it shows up. So the fixation with the human mind is it's looking for answers, or one particular answer to the situation of what is this, right? The question of what is this? What is the world? Why am I here? What the hell's going on? But the mind is focused on looking outside, because the outside is an incredible distraction. It's fucking amazing. Like you look at it and it's just like there's trees, there's clouds, it's blowing its head off out there at the moment. There's probably a storm brewing. Look out the window, you can hear it. The trees are going off in the distance. There's always something to distract the mind from seeking the kingdom of heaven within. And it takes a great discipline to be able to withdraw from the habituation. And once you see it as that, you'll realize it is that. The habituation for verification of the self-identity, of the false identity. I'm constantly trying. I'm not just distracted by things outside me. There's a purpose to that distraction. It's verification of this. I think I'm a body. Right? I'm deliberately, with every conversation, with every visual connection, with everything, it's 100% the whole thing, trying to verify the body and maintain separation. Now, that's not going to really affect you profoundly until finally you're sick of that and you look out there and you realize it all ends in death. And then you start to realize, well, if it all ends in death, what the hell am I doing? Why am I wasting my time chasing around for things out there to verify me, instead of now being about my Father's business, let's say, and or the universal business, and releasing my mind from the bondage of temporal association, right? Through forgiveness, self-forgiveness, accepting God's forgiveness for myself, for the world I think is real and that I see. I think I see a real world. And that will require prayer, meditation, etc., as I mention in all of my videos, pretty much. I really want to thank you guys for supporting this channel. Some of you are just like beautiful, the little comments you make, and I'm like, oh man, I totally feel it. You know, I had someone today tell me that they're always suicidal and they hate the world, and it's like, man, I know. I know how that feels, and I'm laughing because I'm not there anymore, and I'm grateful for that. And you know, I'm not laughing because I'm indifferent to your pain and suffering. I'm laughing because I've had my finger on my nose for my whole life regarding that. It's not a great place to be, but the only thing I can tell you with regard to that is specifically, suicide doesn't work. You'll just pop up in another realm doing much the same thing, if not the exact same thing, pick up where you left off, because energy can't be destroyed, it has to be transformed, and spiritual discipline is a spiritual transformation. You're transferring your signature from going this way to going that way, or vice versa, whatever, away from the light and now into the light. So, and things do get better. I think it's in the book of Isaiah, surely goodness and mercy will follow me all the days of my life. And that's absolutely, you know, the only caveat or the only consideration really to make in this is not to waste time, to learn to use time to your advantage, because whilst salvation is offered, whilst the rope has been dangled, let's say, down the mine shaft, some of us have become so accustomed to living at the bottom of the mine shaft that the rope makes no sense. You know, salvation makes no... Salvation from what? And to that end, you really have to have an experience of seeing what's beyond the world. You really have to experience it for yourself, and remember for yourself what it is you are and where you truly are, and you won't want to come back here. But also not wasting time, because I mean, look around, look at where you are. You know, it's a miracle that salvation even got into this continuum. It's a miracle that we have A Course in Miracles, the workbook and the teacher's manual and the text and everything like that. It's a miracle that Jesus even managed to squeeze in here through the permeation, through the dense permeation of the veil into the dream. You know, God manifest as God's Son, let's say, or the expression of God, the living Christ. Well, now it's up to you and me. We are the living Christ. You are, and so am I. We are one. I'm the Christ, and so are you. But our lot falls to the disciplinary activity of mind training. I had someone today ask me, how do I train my mind? And first you have to understand the purpose of training the mind, which is to return your mind to God as it was given to you, pure, free of judgment, any judgment. I mean, the Holy Spirit uses judgment for your holiness, teaches you how to judge for the atonement, because you can't just dump the habit of judgment. It has to be slowly and gently reinterpreted for you so that it actually becomes beneficial. And in that regard, it seems to be more like choosing rather than judging, because judging is generally equated with judging against yourself by judging others as separate from yourself. But when you're judging others as not separate from yourself, you're not really judging them. You're making a reconfiguration in perception and allowing that reconfiguration to be supported from on high, so that the witness to that shift can actually be seen by you miraculously. There's no way you can do it without the miracle. There's no way you can bring about a shift in consciousness without some kind of connection through prayer, through meditation, etc. Because the miracle doesn't exist inside the conscious domain. The light is not there. The light of you is in eternity, seemingly appearing here. And when I say here, it's in mind. It's hard to talk about. Anyway, I love you. I've asked Tyna to put up the Zoom meeting we did. There was about a dozen of us got together and did a Zoom on last Monday, to put that in my video in the lists. There is a playlist of Zoom meetings for anyone who wants to slog it out and do like anywhere from an hour and a half to 3-4 hours, some of them, of intense encounter. And I remember going through my transformation in the early years, I would do that. I would sit and watch hours and hours of mind training videos by my teacher's teacher, and sit every day with my teacher for 2-3 hours in the morning, and often again at night for an hour or so, and hang around on the week. Like, I was absorbed. I'd had an experience of being beyond the world and everything, and I was scrambling to keep my sanity. And I remember doing whatever I could and involving myself in whatever I could to stay grounded, because it was terrifying to have that feeling of slipping away from your own sense of sanity. And I'd already had that before, which got me into the void in the first place and across the other side. But it's not really an across the other side. It's like you're sort of on the other side before you go in. I don't know how to talk about that either. It's like a black hole. But I would recommend for anyone, and it's got a lot of stuff to do with primary activation of your awakening, and how to stay focused and connected to what it is you're reading and the material that's being presented, etc. And that will transfer automatically to your relationships as a purposeful transfer. But the Zoom meeting that we just did on Monday, I purposefully made it about being activated and learning how to activate yourself. And you'll see me in that video take quite a lot of people through a specific application in mind that you will probably recognize yourself as being remiss in, as well as I do. And hopefully it will be very helpful to you. It goes for about 2 hours, I think, our last Zoom. So if you manage to watch this one to the end, it's going to be about half an hour. You can probably do 2 hours. Get yourself a hot chocolate and some biscuits and settle in. Pay attention. Just while I'm talking about the Zoom, Deb, who's regular at our Zooms, is going to be taking over from Tyna with putting the links and everything down below here in each video. I think we're going to just try and have a standard amount of links for different things now. There'll be the little booklet. A few people in the last whiteboard video asked me, how do I get the little booklet? Because I held it up. Where is it? Traveler's Guide to the Third Dimension, which we send out for free And if you'd like to be someone who distributes these in your country, just reach out to Deb or Tyna. That's the whole nutshell of the Course in Miracles, the whole thought system in 50 pages. It's very condensed, but it's powerful. So Deb's going to be taking over doing that. Tyna is going to be focusing on reprinting the white edition through Amazon and getting that all tidied up. There was a few typos we've discovered or she discovered. I didn't discover it. My level of discovery is very negligent. But so she's doing that. The Lovelies, which is a little crew that Tyna has that are doing things that you might see on my Facebook page, which is also down below the link. Doing things like the daily lessons. They're still involved in that. And we have the database now started, which will eventually be put into a website sort of thing where people can log in, etc. And what the point of that is, there's a lot to talk about here. Maybe I'll do a little video about that on its own. I will, yeah, because I'll be here for another 20 minutes. All right, I love you. I love you very much. And very much is relative, I know, but I love you unconditionally. Very much. And thank you. Thanks for all the new subs and all the new likes and all of that sort of stuff, because it does really help to get this message out, this technology out. Remember, keep your finger on your own nose. Be vigilant for the kingdom of heaven, which is perfect inner peace, and anything that disturbs it, apply forgiveness. If you don't know how to apply forgiveness, read What is Forgiveness in the back of the course, or you'll find videos about forgiveness in my list. There's like 500 videos now. It's getting crazy. Also, if you can copy the link for these videos and get them out there in other areas. I mean, I'm not on Reddit. I'm not on Blue Sky. I'm not on, there's all sorts of things going on now. I'm just on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. So I'm kind of hoping that you guys will pick up the banner and run with it, It's like I can't do everything. So if you feel it within you, if you feel the call to be helpful and you want to start sharing these videos, by all means, don't even ask. Just go ahead. Ideas are increased by sharing, and the idea we're sharing is universally love through forgiveness. Self-love through forgiveness. All right, that's it. Om Namah Shivaya. Peace.